You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks. Tell our listeners where you're calling from and maybe something interesting about yourself.
I'm calling from Australia,
okay,
and originally from the United States, Silicon Valley. Something interesting about myself is, what's interesting? I think everything's so interesting about myself. I'm fascinated but they might not think so, but I'm interested in myself because I'm fascinated with all the things I don't know that I don't know. So that's my life.
Awesome.
Every time I surprise myself sometimes.
Yeah, well, I think some of the things like sharing the stage with some of these big dog names that you mentioned and being a part of that group and just being in the world that you are from a speaker standpoint, a best-selling author is pretty exciting. I'm excited to have you on the show. So thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a privilege. I know that you got a great show, and I'm really looking forward to being here with you. So thank you.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you, what your company does, what kind of what JeffSlayter.com is about, what kind of value it brings to the marketplace.
And okay, so I'm going to be short and direct because
Sure.
I know that these are punchy. I work with entrepreneurs, coaches, especially consultants, and they want to make an impact in the world. I train them in the areas of speaking and selling high ticket items, especially selling from a stage as well. That's predominantly my main focus. I've been in this doing this for 15 years. I've been on the biggest stages in the world with Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, DeMartini. The list goes on and on. And how do you actually convert from those stages to generate massive impact and make good money doing that? And also, how do you sell one-on-one high ticket items?
Awesome. And when you talk about, we see some high ticket sales, more and more people like I do some coaching, and I see a lot of that coming across me because obviously they're targeting well. Tell me why you focus on that. Because I like it, by the way, because I go back to the business and the life aspect and how, from a time cost analysis, it sounds like, yes, high ticket sales make more, do less, have still a great big impact, right? So tell me why you decided to focus on the high ticket sales side.
Sure. It's because after working with literally over 1 million people over the world, there seems to be a common trend with people who pay more, they pay more attention. And predominantly the level of investment in themselves is proportional to the amount of commitment they have towards their success. I actually find it easier to work with people who invest more because they're more serious and they back themselves. Essentially, it's like a reflection. It's like, I know that if someone invests, let's say, in a program that's like at least 10,000 plus, right? They're going to back themselves far more. They're basically, yes, it's great when they invest in your programs, right? Or our programs. But what they're basically doing is, I'm going to put $10,000 on myself at least to back myself. So I back myself, they back themselves, and what we get is a incredible alchemy that actually creates massive momentum. And they tend to be willing to pay to play, which is the mindset of someone who understands that there's power in proximity of these people. And when that happens, it's just, I have a lot more fun because I'm working with great people. Whereas if I try and charge too little, then they want more, but they're not as serious.
Sure. Right. Absolutely. And for your clients, do you feel that there's so many mediums out there and opportunities, right? Podcasts, interviewing people, social media channels, from the stage, for example. Which one do you feel like, if there's aspiring entrepreneurs out there and or speakers and coaches that I know listen to the show that are, where do I focus? Do I do them all? Is this a holistic approach? Can I really balance all those in my life and also run my companies? Or do you feel that the stage or the podcast or the social media angle is what you usually focus on?
Okay, well, the thing is Frank Kern, he's the highest paid internet direct copywriter in the world. And he did a whole study around the difference between hustle versus flow recently. And he's a genius, and he found out that he was in massive action 1 year, hustling on everything, all these things, the hustler. And then he moved to flow, which he would take massive action on a few things. And when he decided to take massive action on a few things versus a lot of things, his results were far more. So the first area I look at when I work with my clients is like, what is the area that you're good at, that you just naturally, like, you do extraordinary podcasts, you're everywhere, like John with EOI on Fire. It's like, you guys are like, punching it out. That's your skill. That's not, doing podcasts is not my highest leverage. Okay. But find out the things that you're really good at. For me, speaking on stage is where I love doing that. But I would suggest what you do is like Gary Vee says, is you don't create content, you document. So what I do is I will speak like this Sunday. I'm at an event. I'm actually 2 events. I speak on Sunday. Let's say it's an all-day event. The whole thing is filmed, back to front, and then it's also live streamed at the same time. Okay, so I'm leveraging. So I'm hustling on one thing, which is events. Then I'm live streaming it. Then what I'm doing is I'll send all that content to my assistant, and my assistant will come up with multiple 3 to 5 minute videos, and she'll add titles to them. Then those will be sent to my writers, who will take the transcriptions and write those specific things and write blogs from those videos. But it'll come from the transcriptions that were generated. Then what happens is my assistant will also go through and create stories that are 15-second long and IGTV type snippets. Then those get redistributed as well. And ultimately, it's a game of omnipresence. As Grant Cardone says, it's literally an attention war. So I do what I'm good at, get it cut up, split up, and there it is. And then every month I'll do a photo shoot, and then those photos are batched content that continue to happen on my Instagram and Facebook and everything else. And then when I do a video like this, like on my podcast, it'll then get transcribed. Then it'll get sent out to my email list as a gift. Then it'll be written up in a blog by the writing team. Yeah. So but I don't spend all day punch you away on social media. I'm not posting. This is a team. I have a team doing this. But I will go through and respond so it's authentically at times, as well. But what we need to do is play the attention war game, be everywhere. Right. And then simultaneously, what we want to do is actually create opportunities to have conversations with us, either from the stage or even one-on-one, qualified people, and then sell high-ticket items. Got it.
How do you help current business leaders scale their business to the next level?
Well, I don't necessarily help them; they help themselves.
Okay.
So the thing is oftentimes people will be like, place all the projection that this person's going to do it for me. No, I'm gonna support you in doing it yourself to give you clarity. So oftentimes people they know what to do because there's so much information out there, right? But the thing is, they don't know what to do in what order. And after having done this for 15 years and made a lot of mistakes, I've had failings, but I'm not a failure. There's a difference between being failing, which I failed a lot. But the thing is, then there's failures who just get stopped. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I can share those mistakes I've made so they don't do them themselves. For example, speaking all over the world, 13 different countries, can create serious burnout. What's the business model that actually has you work less and make more and create better impact working with greater clients? I share some of those things with those clients. And then along the way, they learn how to save time, make more money, and make more impact, and have a lot more fun. And so I help them help themselves by providing themselves clarity, and then giving them what to do in what order, and then also giving them models that make them money, a lot more money with less impact, and then also with more impact. And then along the way, being in proximity of people who are also playing a big game. Like for example, we're all going to 10X. I've got 15 people going to 10X, and we're all diamond ticket 10X. And one of my clients is being coached by Grant Cardone, and it's me, her, and our 15 other people, part of our proximity program. And then we're going to go there. We're going to have incredible networks, be with Grant and everyone else, and be in proximity and play the game. It's fun.
Absolutely.
And then film the whole thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. You gotta get more content, right? Why not?
Of course.
It's there's going to be a lot of great people there too. Tell me a little bit about, I want to just reiterate what you mentioned here. Work less, make more money, but also I think make more impact. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs out there are really scaling to be. If they can do less, have the life that they want to live, and have that business around it, and still make the impact. Because a lot of them, their why is that impact, right? They want to make sure they do it. A lot of people you probably work with, the money isn't the why anymore. A lot of it's just like, how do I go and impact and show others what I've done, et cetera. So that's pretty awesome. Tell me, you mentioned earlier that you kind of obviously had failures. Doesn't mean that we're all failures. Obviously entrepreneurship is just a ton of it, right? And so when's the time that you had that you really were close to rock bottom during your entrepreneurship journey and had to really kind of overcome some obstacles? Life Nation, we're all striving towards different goals. Maybe your goal is to finally quit the 8 to 5 grind, quit your job, or take the next step with your existing business. Whatever the goal may be, regardless of your reasons, if you are serious about taking the next step and finally trying to build the life that you deserve, the life that you want to live, take the leap of faith. Go to michaellevis.com and let's discuss your goals and life. It's 100% free. There's no obligation. It's michaellevis.com. Schedule a quick call. I'd love to help.
Oh man, it was hard. I had lost millions in real estate, and wow. I think it's been 14 years ago, and I just was like, didn't know who I was anymore. I had placed all my value on a human being as having, if I had money, I was successful. If I had this, I was successful. All ideas about outside external validation. And when those external validations started to fall apart, I thought I was worthless and not good enough. And but it gave me an opportunity to reinvent myself and go, what do I really love? And what I love is coaching, speaking, sharing, and transformation. So I basically doubled down into that. I started really, really going in there, and I was like, this is what I love. And then one step to another speaking engagement, and it grew to the biggest stage in the world. And, but it was very hard. And what I learned from it is that persistence, it's just persistence, consistent persistence. People take a lot of, one of the worst areas, and Grant Cardone talks about this, is like just taking action, like normal action. Every day someone takes a little bit of action. Those are the worst kind, because they're just kind of taking this normal action and they think they're moving forward. But the thing is but they have no bar against the amount of action it actually takes on the things that matter. So the winning formula or ingredients is, like Frank Kern said and Grant Cardone, is you combine those. You get clarity, aka if you pay a coach who knows what they're doing, who's been there before, and to find out what areas to put action on. Then what you do is you take massive action in those specific areas over and over again until it works. But if you don't know where to put the attention because you're trying to figure out yourself, you're screwed. If you take normal action in those areas, you won't take off. But it's a little bit like a stopped train. It's like it takes energy to get the train moving. But once the train is moving, it's got momentum. You can then start to put systems in place and everything else in ramp.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, you can't really mistake activity for productivity, right? It's the kind of activity that you're doing, and that's a really good point for our listeners and entrepreneurs out there. Is like, what kind of action are you doing? So we know knowledge isn't power, action is power, but what kind of action? So this takes it down to another micro level of productivity, which I love to talk about this is a whole different podcast, but when it comes down to this, when it comes down to breaking down the high level of this, guys, is if you're listening, it's what is your action? What creates the ROI or the 10 times that we're talking about, like Grant Cardone's conference coming up here in Florida, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, this was in Vegas. This was in Vegas. Right. So it's in Vegas. You're right. Yeah. People should, look, it's all about proximity, being around other people, and you never know what's going to happen. And
right.
Yeah.
What do you think, in your professional opinion, why do a lot of entrepreneurs out there just give up?
Because it's easy to give up.
Yeah.
And it validates a story that they have, which is it's hard and it's not possible. They get to validate, and they don't just validate their story, they validate the ecosystem around them. Maybe their friends are like, hey, and then I told you so, and they get to be right. They'd unconsciously rather be right than have the success they want. It's not that they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of winning. They're afraid of it working. We have two areas in life that we're most afraid of. Is number one, losing everything we got. Number two, getting everything we want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really good point. I think it's easy to quit.
Yeah, it's just easy. So they do it. I don't blame them. It's just easier. It's like, but then, when you're like, I train with this guy 3 times a week in the morning, and we do this crazy, it's so fun. He's an awesome trainer. And I live in the mountains and the trees. And he's like, all right, we get on at 6 a.m., get on a bike, and we're biking, and then we pull the bikes off, and we're at a river, and he goes, we run up a river, like on the, and I'm like, at the end, we're running up the river. I got nothing left,
Right.
And he's like, come on, let's go, keep going. And then in that moment, when I think I have nothing left, I always find another like 5 minutes in me.
Yeah.
And it's that 5 minutes that makes or breaks, like it sets the training a new bar. And it's that extra 5 minutes in entrepreneurism too, where it's at. It's like, because everyone else gives up at 3/4 of the way up the river, but you got to go all the way up the river.
Yeah, you still got to keep rocking when your tank is empty, right? And you find a way to do that. That's awesome.
And when the tank's empty, it's actually, what I found is every time I think the tank's empty, it's not. It's wild. There's a little more of me.
Right. That's some great advice here. It's pretty much, it just takes grit. You got to go out there and you got to have that discipline to be able to take it to the next level. How are you currently, or how have you used like your engine, your experience, I mean, your life, your experiences to build the life that you want to live? This is a Business and Life podcast. I like to talk about business, but in the end, life wins, right? So business, the engine, life, the win. How have you done that for yourself?
Okay, this is a huge distinction. And if you just take away this from the podcast, that could help people. So, so I grew up in an extremely entrepreneurial family. My father struggled as an entrepreneur. And then what many people probably have heard of the company Odesk.
Yep.
Okay, so he was the co-founder of Odesk and first CEO. And I've learned a lot from him, a lot. And he's no longer there at the company anymore. He got it started, got it kicked off, and then raised the first couple rounds and then left. He's an entrepreneur. That's what he does. And I was hanging out with him because I love hanging out with my dad because I learned a lot from him. And he goes, and I said, Dad, you know what? I've learned a ton from you, like a lot. We were going on an adventure he was with us on a business conference in New Zealand. And we're on the plane. And I said, what have you learned from me? I said, I just want to know what you learned from me. Like, he's super cool. And he's like, you know, son, when I first started my companies, I wanted to just build a business. I wanted to build a business. And I wanted to build something that was successful. And I went out and I asked myself, how do I build a business? And how do I build a successful business? And I punched and I was persistent. And he did it, you know, it's successful. And he had failures along the way and everything else. But he goes, I just wanted to build a successful business. He goes, what I've learned from you, son, is you started out with a life you want first. You started out when you ask questions, who do you want to spend time with? Where do you want to spend your time? How do you want to spend time? Who are the clients you want to work with? You ask yourself, how much money do you want to make? What kind of contribution do you want to make? Where do you want to live in the world? He goes, and then you built a business to support that. He goes, I wasn't around a lot, son, in the beginning because I was building my businesses. But I never asked myself the life I want. And then it brought me back and I said, yeah, Dad, it's like Jim Rohn, you know, a business is designed to fund your personal dreams.
Right.
And it also reminds me of, and so what I got from him was build your business first. Build your life, figure out the lifestyle you want and forget and build a business to support that.
Right.
And then it comes back to, I have a coach I work with, her name is Michelle Masters. And she says, the money should serve the life, not the life serve the money. I'll say it again. And that little ping was for that extra punch. The money should serve the life, not the life serve the money.
I love that.
And I was like, that's really good. And because I was having a conversation about, you know, like even Grant Cardone, like he flies around in a jet, right? Like,
yeah,
people are like, oh, it's just about him looking good. No, yeah, I'm sure he likes to look good. Fine, that's Grant Cardone. That's how he rolls. Whatever. If someone has a problem with that,
that's his brand, right?
Take it up with Grant. Good luck. But my point is deep down he knows that ultimately he's going to have a clearer head. He's going to think more effectively. He's going to feel rested. He'll be able to present more effectively because he's rested. He knows that the money should serve the life. So the money he's making is serving the life so he can be better at what he does and create more impact versus life serving the money, which many people who are in a more poverty mindset, they're like, I don't want to spend the money but instead of it saving their life and their energy and their life force. So I will spend money. Tim Ferriss says something good. He goes, you don't have a problem if you can throw money at it.
Yeah. That's true. That's really good.
So let's have life. Let's literally have the money serve the life, not the life serve the money. And if they leave with that, and let's design our lifestyles and build a business to support the lifestyles so we can have the money serve life. And that's what it's all about. And then it's freedom. And ultimately we all rise together. And then that's what entrepreneurs all about. Let's do this together.
Absolutely. That's really good advice in terms of your success, your failures and your success. What Jeff, what would be the one piece of parting advice you'd give to the business and life listeners out there that are entrepreneurs currently?
Let go of the opinions of others. I'd rather have the whole world against me than my own soul. That's from DeMartini. If you, I'd be like literally, the opinions of others are like shackles to our possibilities. And then if we all live our soul's journey with, it works. We go back into we're the only species out of alignment with nature. And then if we all listen to our true natures itself, not our necessary, if we just go back to our true natures and literally listen to what we're here to do, then ultimately we get back in touch with our nature and we work in harmony with everything around us again. And we're the only one out there so out of touch. It's crazy, but we'll just get back in touch. It's fine.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Where can people find you? They
can go to, there's a free audio book that I made called success2book.com, success2book.com, or they can go to they can find me on Instagram at Jeff Slayter, or Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Slayter, SLAYTER.com. And I've got sales sheets and things to give them to support them as well. All kinds of free stuff. Go get it.
Jeff, thanks so much for dropping the bombs today and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate your time.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Liebus, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.